Right. So we've just begun the recording. Welcome, everybody. Happy Wisconsin Tech Month. We are so jazzed to have you all join us aboard the talent ship. And so my name is Sarah Sewell. I am the Director of Workforce Planning and Re and Upskill Programs at the Milwaukee Tech Hub Coalition. And I'm so excited to be hosting this event, this webinar. And so today we have I'll get into some introductions of our lovely panelists who you can see on the line. I'll be introducing them with their full bios before they grace us with um, their presence and their talks in a quick lightning round. And so then we'll dedicate most of the session today to talking with you all, answering some questions, getting to the root of what it takes to actually build a resilient tech talent ecosystem in the region. And so we're going to explore that through the lens of apprenticeship, internships, returnships, and also entrepreneurship, because talent comes in many shapes and sizes, many different forms, is in folks of all ages, and we know that you all on the line are talent seekers, talent yourselves, and looking to apply your skill sets to the tech talent ecosystem here in the greater Milwaukee region. And so we're really excited to have you all on the line. And yeah, we're going to waste no time. We're going to go ahead and get started. So before we dive into the session today, I do want to just review with you who's on the line. And so we had quite a few folks who represent these different demographics in our ecosystem. We've got 21% of folks on the line who are students, 33% who are entrepreneurs, 42% who are employers, which is awesome as well, and then 17% who are job seekers themselves. And so quite a few folks chose more than one identification. If you add all those up, I think it goes over 100% here. But we're so, we all wear many hats, and hopefully this event will be of value to you no matter how you identify on the spectrum and so of tech talent. And so if I could just ask that as you have questions, as you're on the line, please do make sure that you are typing your questions in the Q&A box. It should be at the top of your screen next to where the chat is. And so we'll be answering questions of folks. We have a time designated for that a little bit later on the session. So please do keep your questions coming. All right, without further ado, let's get into the webinar. Okay, our first stop on the talent ship is apprenticeship. And we are stopping with Chuck Olson, who represents the Bureau of Apprenticeship with the Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development. So Chuck serves as an outreach representative for the emerging apprenticeship sectors, which includes IT. And so that's why he's here joining us today. And what he does is he works with state employers and committees to expand registered apprenticeship programs into new non-traditional occupations, of course, including IT, healthcare, logistics, agriculture, biofinance, and HR. He received his master's in business from UW-Madison and has been with the Department of Workforce Development for the past 2 years. Chuck is an Army vet, so thank you for your service, Chuck, and also possesses 20 years of experience in the private sector as a manager and a director at an automotive company. And so we are so excited to have you, Chuck, with your breadth of experience, talking to us about apprenticeships, registered tech apprenticeships. So I'll go ahead and move to your side and you can take it away.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I have to tell my wife I was introduced as a lovely panelist. I'm sure she'll get a kick out of that. I don't hear that often, but no, I just want to, first of all, thank the employers, students, entrepreneurs, and job seekers. Just taking the time to be on the call. People's time is valuable. I hope you'll take something out of this that can help you in your path. And I want to thank the panelists, Blanca, Rashi, Sheila, and Sarah for putting this together. And it's Sarah's birthday is coming up this weekend, so we do want to wish you a happy birthday. And then I will jump in. I'm already 30 seconds in, so just for 5 minutes. Wisconsin registered apprenticeship. And a lot of people think, wait, Chuck, isn't that welder, tool and die, plumber, construction? And of course it is. It's been that way since 1911. Wisconsin was the first state to have a registered apprenticeship program in the nation, and we are looked to as the gold standard of training. But there were some grants that came out about 3, 4 years ago that says if this mentorship earn and learn model works so well for the trades, why not expand it to some of those areas that Sarah mentioned? And one of them, of course, being IT. There's a huge shortage of IT talent, and we want them to come to Wisconsin and stay here and develop and mentor them. So you'll see our slide here. And the reason we're excited about apprenticeship is we just set a record of 16,000 apprentices at the end of last year. The governor recognized that, which was an all-time record. So in a state, in an environment where your workforce is maybe aging and some leaving, it's nice that something's going up. And I would encourage you to look at registered apprenticeship because it obviously is working. It continues to rise. This is my kind of one-page slide. So it may have a lot of information on here, but very quickly, for those of you who don't know what registered apprenticeship is, these are the basics, no matter what trade it is, in this case, IT. But starting left to right, 90% of what the apprentice learn is on the job. We call it on-the-job learning because they're getting training plus mentorship from your own company mentors. So that's the base of it. 10% is called paid related instruction. So for 10% of the time, the apprentice will be taking some courses, mainly online in this case. And there's several options for that I'll cover later. It could be through a tech college or through one of our committee partners, like Apprenti. And while they're in those courses, you do have to pay them their hourly wage. That's kind of the win for the apprentice and the win for you, but you are investing them. And again, most of the time they are on the job with you. The third one over, if you sign up to be a sponsor, it means, hey, I want to train and mentor IT apprentices. There's no cost to apply. You just got to want to commit to that and have a structure of mentors in place. Usually we're looking for a 1-to-1, 1-to-2 ratio of mentors to apprenticeship. And I help you with all the details, contracts, but it's a lot less paperwork than it used to be. The fourth one over, they do have to be a full-time employee. So this is not an internship or it's summer 20 hours a week. They are your full-time employee. So the apprentice has a great system. They earn and learn. They're getting these courses. And at the end of it, they come out with some certifications and a journey worker credential. The fifth one over, we're the government. We're not going to tell you what wages to pay, but it is a requirement that is at a progressive wage scale. So most of our apprenticeships in IT are 1 year. So you'll bring them on for a wage, maybe a bump 6 months and an end bump. And we can help you with that with some data. And finally, at the last bullet on the right, we mentioned some of the things the apprenticeship earns. So what are the IT apprenticeships we offer? If you look below on the bottom, you'll see IT RAs. So we have IT Support Pro or IT Help Desk, Software Data Analyst, and our new one this year, thanks to help from Sarah and the Tech Hub, we have 2 employers doing Cybersecurity Analyst. So those are the durations of them. They are up and running and available. Why be an apprentice in the middle? I covered some of that, but who wouldn't want to come onto a job with structure, a mentor, earn and learn, and no college debt, candidly. And then why be a registered apprenticeship sponsor? The retention average is 92%. I mean, they're learning your culture. It's a great way to diversify your workforce. Again, not everyone can afford that 4-year college degree, but this way it gets them in the door. There are some grants available, including $2,500 per apprentice later on in the program. And I will say at the end, how do I get started? You can certainly reach out to me. You'll have contacts at the end. Apprenti works with the Milwaukee Tech Hub in our state. They are a committee partner. So they offer a lot of resources to help you source, vet, hire, and train up. That's called a committee partner. I have their information at the bottom, along with Valerie Robinson. Okay. But we do have a traditional model too, where you can just, if you're a smaller company, maybe you just want to have an apprentice and work with our tech college system to do that 10% related instruction. So that is a lot of info in 5 minutes. And I think I hit it, right, Sarah?
You did great.
Okay.
You did great, Chucks.
Awesome. Good. I'll put our website in the chat. And again, thank you all for being on the call.
Excellent. Thanks so much again, Chuck. And so that was our first, we set sail with apprenticeship. Our next step on the ship along the journey, the talent journey, is going to be internships with Blanca Gonzalez. And Blanca is the executive director of IC Stars, which is a technology training nonprofit which provides rigorous technology-based workforce development and leadership training program for underserved adults. IC Stars connects these individuals with career opportunities in Milwaukee and helps to grow their professional network as well. Blanca's experience spans a career in nonprofits where she held leadership positions at Neighborhood House of Milwaukee, as well as Boy Scouts of America. And so, Blanca, will you do us the honors and get us going with apprenticeship or with internships?
My pleasure. Thank you, Sarah. Always appreciate you. And I also echo Chuck's sentiments and introduction. Very excited to be part of this panel and with such awesome panelists here, and always love Tech Month. It seems like the tech reunion for many of us. And by this time, we are pretty exhausted, right? Third week, but we're almost done, and it's worth it 100%. So a labor of love. And so, yeah, I'm here to represent IC Stars and talk a little bit about who we are. IC Stars is a company that's dedicated to developing leaders in the technology and innovation industry. Our team's about passion and about providing a robust training program for underserved young adults and empowering them to create change and make a positive impact in the tech industry and in their community. And so I want to share a little bit about what that looks like. There is some would call it a vigorous application process, but there is meaning behind that. We are looking for interns, those applicants, I should say, who is that hidden talent in our community? And so there is a 7-step application process. And so the first one is to register for an IC Stars info session. And that's just to let us know, who you are and, and what are the qualifications that you're bringing to the table. So we do focus on the non-traditional talent. So anyone with a high school diploma or a GED or some college, but not a degree, because we do consider that the privilege there. We ask you to attend an info session with our recruiter, submit an application at that point, and then a personal essay with some questions on that, right? We need to see, what is the leader in you? Why do you want to go into tech? What about tech really motivates you and inspires you? And then there's a little bit of a tech debugger that you have to go through, because we want to see, really, are you going to be able to just do the intro parts of technology when you get into the program? What are we dealing with? How entry level are you at this point? At that point, it's a scholarship essay, and then I want to say a very fun application panel interview. And so this one goes as far as us saying, looking for those inspirational answers that you're going to give us. And so I will share one of those questions with you, and you may say, like, why does that have anything to do with it? But we ask, what was one of your favorite memorable Halloween costumes? But there's reasoning behind that. Right. And so I'll share that with any of you who want to maybe apply for the program later. So anyhow, and if need be, after we get to that point, after the panel interview, there's a PowerPoint if needed. And that's really just for us to see a little bit more in-depth answers that you may have about coming into the internship program. So then after that application process and that you're accepted, there's a 16-week immersive program that you're going to go through. And it is Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And so it starts with a team week, where we're doing a lot of team week bonding, knowing who is going to be in the cohort. And that is a group of 20 individuals that are selected to be in this process. There is a great deal of professional development, hands-on, where you're going to learn what an RFP is and how to build that out and really look and focus on the scope of everything. The technology training that's going to happen, the fundamentals of coding. There is a career month that's involved. Definitely employment placement is the goal, but it's not right away guaranteed. What is exciting about this is that we give a lot of advocacy. We always say that we have those conversations with employers about why our talent. I like to say that, even though there is the merit of not having your degree, we have these backdoor conversations with employers so that our interns can walk through the front door. And that's very important for us, for them to be mentored, to be trained. And once this employment happens, there is a 200%, earnings increase, which we're very proud of. And once again, that goes with advocacy on our end. We share with those employers that even though there's not a degree attached there, that this group deserves to be here. And so we're excited about the 84% placement rate that we have, in Milwaukee. And in Chicago, I will say that United Airlines is one of the biggest employers that and sponsors that we have, and they've gone as far as hiring the whole entire cohort. And so when that happens, that's success for us, right? We are hoping that the goal will be here in Milwaukee, but what's been fascinating about Milwaukee is that we're spreading that all around. So we normally have that placement 3 months after commencement. And so once again, great stuff for us to really be proud of. The networking events are also something that we provide our interns. It's the exposure to our professional events that begins with them building their social capital. And that's really important because they need that. And so many of you who've been to our events normally like really creating those opportunities for our interns to really start those conversations early on. As far as, potential placement or openings with an employer, or even just mentorship and coffee chats. After that is all done, we provide an 18-month residency program that the interns are in, where their professional development continues. It's more emphasis on how do you take hold of your career development. So what are those tough conversations that you may have to have after being in a position for a year? How do we help you with those conversations? The mentorship continues, technology workshops continue. That ongoing learning is extremely important for us. Certifications, more entrepreneurial for our residents is very important. And this is the feedback that we've received from our alumni. We don't want just another workshop, right, on Java or JavaScript. What we want is something that's going to give us continuous merit also. So those certifications really do help. And then, there's the special events that our interns are part of, the community service and volunteer opportunities that also go with this program, and just really proud that our alumni network is growing to what it is in the involvement and engagement. So when you see an IC Stars family member, really say hello to them. You'll probably be inspired with the conversation that they're going to have with you. So I'm sure I went way over 5 minutes. That's my Latina-ness in me, so my bad.
No, that was wonderful. Thank you, Blanca. That was fantastic. It's a phenomenal program, and I'm sure that lots of folks on the line will be interested in learning more. All right, our next stop on All Aboard the Talent Ship is returnship. So if you're not looking at entering in as an apprentice or an intern, what's the deal with a returnship? Well, we're going to learn from Rashi Khosla, who is the founder and CEO of Mars Solutions Group. Rashi leads Mars Solutions Group, which is a firm that provides diverse talent acquisition, returnship, and employee engagement services to firms around the world. Prior to her work with Mars, Rashi served in technical and management positions and has been retained as a consultant for several Milwaukee companies in various industries. She has maintained a strong background in business, technology, and process development throughout her career in the IT arena. And Rashi joins us now to talk returnship.
Thank you, Sarah. That was a great introduction. Thanks for having me on this panel. I'm delighted to be joined by these amazing co-panelists. And Blanca, every time I hear you talk about IC stars, I make new notes. So thanks for that. Just never gets old. So what I am bringing to you today is a non-traditional pool of talent that is still vastly untapped. And I'm talking about women that have taken a break from technology workforce after a gap in employment. So Sarah, if you advance to the next slide, here's some of the statistics associated with this pool of talent that's often overlooked. So we have over, so unlike IC stars, I'm talking about a pool of talent that has degrees. So we have over 2.6 million US women that have either a PhD degree or master's degree, but do not work outside the house. And 40% of US mothers at some point in their life would take time away from workforce for a variety of reasons. And that could be a short break, could be an extended break. And so that's the one side of the equation. The other side of the equation is kind of in alignment, which is only 25% of women are represented in technology workforce. So when these pool of talent, and a lot of times when I'm talking about a returning professional, I'm speaking to women, but we do have male returners in our program as well. But what happens when this pool of talent is ready to come back to workforce? So Sarah, if you move to the next slide. Well, what happens is the organic system of hiring that we have in play simply does not work. Because on the employer side, what we're dealing with is a system that's so antiquated that we're trying to do matches based on recent relevant experience. So every job description starts with 5 years of this, which is okay because our returners probably have that experience, but it's not recent. So our employer partners oftentimes do not understand how to engage with this non-traditional pool of talent, and your resume probably goes to the bottom of the pile. And when we switch to the issues that the returners face, they constantly are applying to different roles and are losing confidence in that process and attributing it to needing more skills, which partially is true, but also they are sort of victimized due to the hiring process works. So there's about 3 million women in US alone that are ready to come to workforce. And that's where our program Returnship comes into play. What we're trying to do is partner on both sides. So on the employer side, we engage with educating on how to onboard somebody that's not coming through traditional route, which is a common theme across all of us as panelists. It is not your traditional source of talent. And for our returning professionals, we offer them a variety of resources that I would put under 3 different categories. The first is reskilling, upskilling. We obviously have the need to make sure that returning professionals, especially in IT, where things change overnight, that they are well-versed with the latest and greatest. And even though that is part of our program, I personally think that's available to many of us online nowadays. It's easy to go enroll in a program and learn JavaScript, HTML, you name it. I think it's the other 2 components that we're extremely proud of. And Blanca spoke to some of those in her program, which is the professional development, the mentorship, the pillar of our program. So we offer that to a returning professional too, and it's really, really important for them to regain the confidence, regain the skills that they would need to apply to a work setting. The third pillar is applied learning, because you can learn a lot about technology through various resources, but it's when you take that learning and apply it to a real life project in a setting that an enterprise is when it's becomes important. So that is another component of our program. We run 2 cohorts a year at a minimum. For the returning professional, we have tracks that offer full stack development and data analysis. But we also work with our employers to offer customized solutions. So you may come into our program and say, well, we love the idea of you recruiting these diverse population for us and how the program's structured, but the tech stack that you're prepping them for does not align with what we need. And in that case, we would partner with them and design a curriculum that works specifically for that need. So that, in essence, at a high level, what the returnship program is, there's information that would be shared, my contact and the program contact, if you are a professional that's looking to return to technology workforce, or in other cases, if you're career changers, we welcome your application. The process is all listed very well on our website. But yeah, that is the goal here, is trying to create that bridge and help with the 25% representation we have for women in technology workforce. So thank you.
Thank you, Rashi. Awesome work. Really important work. Very helpful too. Oh, yep. These are outlining some of the challenges. And so important, right? For everybody to be able to, both on the returner side and the employer side, harness those untapped skill sets. And so wrapping us up is Sheila Long from Malamado on entrepreneurship. And so Sheila is the founder and CEO of Malamado, which is a co-working community for women. Malamado provides working space, networking opportunities, and incubation services to women entrepreneurs. Sheila has more than a decade of experience in the tech sector and has consulted for many boards, including the University of Chicago's Booth Women's Network, the Project Management Institute, and other organizations to foster inclusive entrepreneurial settings. And so this is our last stop on the talent ship. So just a reminder to everybody, please do get your questions in the Q&A box. I saw one come in. Please continue typing them in so that we can address those in our next segment on Q&A. So without further ado, Sheila, you can take it away on entrepreneurship.
Thank you so much for having me and for putting together this panel. It's truly amazing to have all of these different people representing so many different segments of people in our state. So thank you for doing that. We could go to the next slide. And I really want to thank the Milwaukee Tech Hub Coalition for really doing an amazing job listening to what the needs are and putting events like this together so that we can be listened to and heard and continue to have great opportunities for all people, especially for women, which is the market that I represent. So with Malamado, the women's co-working community that I founded 7 years ago, we offer community and space, but it's primarily a community. So we have over 30 women business owners who are members of our community. And we go out and go to events where we can have a promotional table. So this event here on the right, we were outside of my work. We're in Shorewood, which is close to UWM. And they had the Shorewood Feast. So we were able to put a tent up outside, and then one of our newest members, Shafan, she has an incredible business helping African-American families with children with ADHD get help through the schools. So she was able to promote that business because we provided the opportunity for her to be able to do that. And we were open all day. So all of the 30 entrepreneurs had an opportunity to go there and boost their business and really expand the market that they're seeking. But then also there's networking. So on the left on that past slide, we have 8 mental health therapists. So 3 of them are looking for new clients. So we put together this brochure for them so that we were able to hand it out and help them grow their business. Okay, next slide. Thanks. So what we do have, though, is space in addition to the community, which is such an important piece. We have hot pods, which in the world of co-working is just a place where you can sit down and work. So we're on 3 floors of a building. So those are pictures of the space. And then outside, we have tables outside as well where the Wi-Fi works. That was my top priority, making sure the Wi-Fi was very strong. So it's frustrating. The next slide. Okay, here are pictures of our conference rooms. So we have 2 conference rooms, which people launching businesses can reserve them. It's $165 a month to join, and then you just book the conference rooms. So I have multiple business owners, about 7, who just run their businesses out of these conference rooms and meet clients there. And it's really a way for them to reinvent themselves. If they have an idea, especially in technology, they're able to launch it and grow it. And then we have a big event space too, which we built out during the pandemic, where members are able to use the space to conduct meetings, as long as it's not like we don't have teachers, like we don't want it to be a classroom setting, but we want it to be more of a place where members whose offices are around that space are able to still see clients as well. And then we have 13 private offices, which came up. My initial model was that we would have, everybody would want to work together and have ideas and kind of bounce them off of other people. But in the market that Malamado serves, it became clear that people just needed some time alone out of their house where they could shut the door. So it did not anticipate that. So we have expanded many times. I believe it's 5 times. And the fact that we went to private offices right before the pandemic hit really kept the doors open for us, because we were able to just shut the door and everybody was able to be safe from COVID, but they were still able to keep their businesses running. They were doing their own accounting, their own legal work. So it was just a really great opportunity. So if you have an idea, you want to launch a business, there's a space for you to be able to do that. So our target market, initially, I thought it would be consultants. It ended up being a lot of caretakers, like people who just really wanted to get out of the home, either caring for maybe a senior, maybe a spouse or a parent or children, and a lot of parents of children with special needs who just cannot go into the traditional workplace, but they just needed a place where they can still find themselves and develop professionally. And then a lot of women going through life transitions. And when I say women, it's anyone who identifies as a woman. So a lot of transplants. There's a lot of people that move to Wisconsin for the quality of life, and they need to start over professionally. Empty nesters was another key market that really came through during the pandemic. I hadn't really marketed to them, but they kept things going through the pandemic. Remote workers, we've got a lot more of them since COVID hit. Separated or divorced people who are just going down a new path. Cancer survivors, people who've had to reevaluate their priorities, and recently bereaved family members have also just needed to get into a new setting. So different types of entrepreneurs. These are pretty intuitive, but flexibility, maybe someone who's a caretaker who needs to just work around the schedule that they're dealing with. Necessity, somebody who just needs money and is not, for some reason, not being asked to interview for traditional roles. Someone who wants to do something on the side, who has a role, but this is like their dream. Or an opportunity entrepreneur is what happens after you start one of the 3 prior ones. The opportunity is what Raisha's done, just such an amazing job launching Mars, and with the returnship, where you find something that really takes hold and you're able to grow an incredible business. And what tends to happen is you no longer have the flexibility, that you don't need the money because your business has taken off, or you're not doing it on the side. So those are the types of entrepreneurs we have. And then the resources that we offer, I have a podcast. I haven't updated it lately, but I think we've done about 34 episodes of Head of the Table, is what it's called. And then I created a model on how women grow businesses. And the model really works for anybody growing a business, but all of the women doing the tours were women. So it probably was about 100 people who came through, and I noticed different attitudes that they had about money, about like how fearful they were to launch their business, what they needed in terms of staffing. So I put together a model and had been handing it out for years. And then during the pandemic was afforded the opportunity where I was able to document it and put it in a book. And it features the stories of 43 women, most of them local, who have launched and grown businesses. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheila. Thanks to all of our panelists. Job well done. Very excited to get into some of these questions here. And so just a reminder, if you have a question for one of the panelists or just a question generally for all of them or for about anything tech talent related, please do type that into the Q&A box at the top of your screen. I think we have a question directed at Chuck here. Said that, which says from Joe, so thank you, Joe, for your question. What is the minimum age and any requirements for an IT apprenticeship? So if someone's looking to apply to become an apprentice, maybe they're not on the employer side. What's the step, the next step that they can take, and what are the requirements?
Thank you, Joe. That's an excellent question. And what's interesting is the average age of an apprentice in the state of Wisconsin. I mean, you may not, it's 29 years old. So, when I look at the, changing careers and reskilling, that's an interesting one. The minimum age, it's a high school degree is what the minimum is to be a registered apprenticeship. So, or GED equivalent. So that is part of it. Generally it's 18 years old, but if you are less than that, it's just an extra signature on your contract, where we have a parent or guardian sign that. But the minimum is a high school degree. And it's up to the employer. So obviously I'm government. I don't place people per se. That would probably be a disaster. But we do, Joe, have what's called featured sponsors. And I am going to share that link because you're a job seeker and a go-getter, it looks like. So featured sponsors, and again, I cover a lot of different trades in apprenticeship, but for IT, you can look at the various ones I mentioned, cybersecurity, IT support pro, and software data analyst. And when you go, you can look at who is offering that. You will see Apprenti on there. You may see a few others that we have some other interested employers that want to get aboard the apprenticeship. So that's my job, is to work with employers and help create those opportunities. And then of course you'll interview with them. It's very rare you'll be signed to an apprentice contract that day. Usually you'll be on the job. They're going to watch you and make sure you're you're a go-getter with the right attitude. And then I assist with that contract. So great question. I hope that answered your minimum ages. And most employers want a little bit of, computer knowledge in one of these areas, which a lot of people have nowadays. So I hope that answered your question.
Excellent. Thanks, Chuck. And thanks to Blanca and Rashi for throwing in some more information about your programs in the chat as well. And so for all the panelists, anybody who wants to jump in, a question here, what do you think the potential is, the talent that you all serve? What do you think the untapped potential is for harnessing their talent in the workforce, in the tech space? What do we have to gain as an ecosystem from these populations who typically, we don't see represented in the tech ecosystem? Go ahead, Blanca. Yep.
Yeah, I think, two areas that, IC Stars is, focuses on is that definitely that diversity and inclusion, right? That's that, and it's then the soft skills and the emotional intelligence, and these are areas that maybe not many would think of, right? But the D&I, one of the most, I think the significant untapped potentials in the tech industry is the value of D&I, right? In a more diverse workforce, right, is going to bring us a broader range of perspectives and ideas. And that's leading definitely into better problem solving, which is really what we're all looking for in that innovation. So I think embracing those backgrounds is a big one, and the experiences and perspectives. It really has everything to gain for a company. And the soft skills in the EI that we, tap into and really, really hone into is that it's often associated with hard technical skills. That's what the tech industry's always looked at. But the more and more we speak to our employers, right? That's the one thing that they say. We can find the best technical person that there is. But if those soft skills and that communication, that teamwork, and that emotional intelligence, those are critical areas for you to focus on for a good team member, right? And tech is really a lot about team. And so if that's not there, you're going to find yourself, right, having some kind of complications maybe, or some gaps there in the teamwork that you really could have paid attention to a lot earlier. So I think many professionals having those skills and tapping into them can really lead to better collaboration and project management. So those are the two areas that I would definitely say.
Awesome. And go ahead, Rashi.
Yeah, I could jump in. I fully agree with Blanca. I mean, it's about time that our technology workforce represent the general population that's out there. And I think that's a imperative for businesses to have the diversity in workforce. But I also think it's just simply a need outside of all of that. In technology, it is hard to find talent. Things change overnight. To keep up with new technology trend, having sort of this non-traditional pool of talent be an option, not to replace what you traditionally do. So I think companies would still continue to hire from the 4-year degree program like they do, and bring interns, and companies continue to do their own reskilling, upskilling, promote from within, provide training, and move people to technology roles. But the demand is still higher. If you look at the statistics and data out there, we absolutely need every single one of non-traditional sources of talent that we're building here, folks on this panel, as part of your technology workforce. It's just meeting an unmet need.
Excellent. Go ahead, Sheila. Oh, you're on mute, Sheila.
Okay, I'd like to echo what was just said as well. I think looking at middle-aged workers, mid-career professionals is definitely an area that we can try to develop them in terms of their tech skills. They may have some skills that haven't really kept up. Maybe they've been in a company for a number of years and they're out looking for new positions, but they have the will to do it. They've developed those soft skills that Blanca had mentioned, and really being a little more open-minded to that, I feel that we really could develop an incredible source of talent.
Excellent. We had a few more questions come in during the Q&A from attendees. So thank you all. Continue to keep those coming in the Q&A box. We had a question, I think, for Rashi. For returnship, is this available to men who stayed home with their children while their wives worked?
Absolutely. And in my presentation, I shared a lot of data that was pointed towards women, because traditionally, that was my story, and that was where the program started. But in the last 3 years of us doing this, at least 10 to 20% of our cohort is represented by male returners. And I'm trying to get used to using returners versus the women terminology. But yes, absolutely, it is available. And there's at least 20% representation in our current cohort with male returners.
Excellent. Excellent. The door's wide open, you guys. Just, for everybody. So, we have another question from the audience as well. That was from Rachel. So thank you, Rachel, for the returnship question. From Leah from how could or do all of these shifts help Milwaukee and Wisconsin become a more attractive, prominent destination for talented individuals? And Leah's reflecting on the Illinois governor's announcement yesterday about how their state is actually doing paid tech training. They have a whole big tech paid tech training initiative for Illinois residents. And so if we're, competing for talent, right, writ large across the country or internationally even, how do we attract, how do these ships, help Milwaukee and Wisconsin's tech ecosystem become more competitive? I don't know if Chuck, you may have thoughts from the state perspective or others.
Sure.
Thoughts.
Sure. Yeah. And first of all, what a great question. We don't operate in a vacuum, and we always have to be aware that the whole entire nation is searching for tech talent, and you want to retain it. I will say one thing: if you haven't gone to the Milwaukee Tech Hub webpage, I encourage you to do so, because they're really, them and all the employers that are part of that are leading the charge, along with what's happening in Green Bay and Madison, to really offer a good value proposition to apprentices wanting to come here. I think Green Bay was just named a top city in the U.S. Milwaukee's, if you look at Kathy Heinrich's post for the Tech Hub, we have a lot to offer, and our cost of living tends to be a little bit lower than Illinois. Last I checked, I think our teams are better too, but that's not here nor there. On the apprenticeship side of things, one reason, we're proud to hit a record apprenticeship number, 16,000. And that's just with IT just starting out, and we have other ones. And I think what that value is you have somebody who's getting paid by the employer, mentored. They're taking these courses, and it doesn't stop there. That's just a career path. It's like, hey, let's get the technical degree. Let's get and some of these, it can start with IC Stars or MAR or anything else. And then once you have your journey worker card that is valid nationwide, which is pretty strong, it's no different than a steam fitter or a plumber journey worker credential. And the more it's recognized, I think the more clout we have in Wisconsin. We run our own apprenticeship program in Wisconsin. Illinois, they do not. So we've got a lot of latitude on how we can support those. And I'm not going to get into all the grants that are stackable with ours, but they certainly are out there. And I hope that someone answered the question. What do you think, Sarah?
I think it's great. Yes.
Okay.
Everybody sign up to be an apprentice. It's a program we will run with Apprenti. This is the shameless plug. So if you have questions about that, you can talk to Chuck, you can talk to me, you can talk to the folks at Apprenti as well.
And we have another sponsor who's just about to come on board as well. So I for further discussions, we can talk about that. But it's nice to see other employers joining it, because why? It works.
Absolutely. Other perspectives on how your programs help build a stronger Wisconsin tech ecosystem, tech talent, attraction magnet.
Yeah, I mean, I think it on one hand helps us attract more employers to the area, the companies that are looking to relocate, and we've seen recently a lot of success in that. And when you get these big name companies setting up operations in Wisconsin, we need to be able to provide talent, and we all know that the traditional sources aren't enough. So that is a need that we can meet. And then on the sides of job seeker, giving them opportunities, help us with the brain drain and attract the talent, and just elevate the image of Milwaukee as a tech hub, right? The center where technology talent wants to stay and thrive.
Yeah, I just also wanted just to say, Sarah, that I think it's also embracing that entrepreneurial spirit, right? That most of our tech, people have in them, right? Is encouraging and supporting that innovation that's going to get us to where we want to be, on the map. And so I love the fact that that's been done. I love the fact that we have a very strong, tech ecosystem here in Milwaukee, and only, embracing more of this is going to help us by working together. So very excited.
I'd like to echo those sentiments and also add that the Wisconsin Tech Council puts on an incredible entrepreneurship conference in June. They have early stage coming up at the beginning of November as well. And those are statewide programs. And with the entrepreneurship conference, there's a contest you can enter if you have an idea. So by going to those events and learning new things, learning about the latest in technology, it's an easy way to quickly upskill as well.
Excellent. And for everybody on the line, just our one last question for panelists. if someone's on the line and they're ready to go and they're saying, okay, I'm pressing the gas, I've got the green light, what are a couple steps that folks can consider to be able to engage with your programming or with the services that you all offer? We can go back in order if Chuck, you want to kick us off, and we can wrap up with Sheila.
Sure. So let me just put my hand down, and I am on. So the steps are, if you are an employer and you're even just curious about it, please reach out to me. I'll go ahead and put my email there. I have two colleagues, Mackenzie Webster and Tom Caldy, who operate in the northern part of the state, Green Bay and Northwest, so they can assist as well. You can reach directly out to Apprenti for the committee. And can I share my screen, Sarah, or am I not allowed to do that?
I should be able to.
Okay. So I just want to share, sometimes it's like, well, okay, I see this Chuck guy and all that, but you guys should be able to see a photo here from Associated Bank. Okay. This is just one of many employers we have on that apprentice model, and it's a big deal. These are graduates of the apprenticeship. They got their journey worker certificate, and they are masters in that profession, whether it's software data analyst. They just started cybersecurity. And again, we have other employers. I just like showing associates because they're on my mind. I was just Associated Bank. I was just there. But again, if you're an employer, I encourage you to reach out to me. I'll put my email, or Apprenti directly if you're a large company who wants part of that full spectrum: sourcing, vetting, interviewing, helping with the mentorship. And if you're a job seeker, again, I share that featured sponsor and just go out. There's a demand for your skills if you're willing to learn and take advantage of some of these other great training programs we have out there with IC Stars, Mars, Alamado Entrepreneur. Just get out there is what I would say. And I will put my email in now for the employers.
Awesome. Thanks, Chuck. Blanca, next steps from folks who want to get into IC Stars?
Absolutely. Definitely reaching out to us, via our website, icstars.org, and reaching out by filling out that application, right? And requesting a meeting with our recruiter. Melissa Kostakis is our recruiter for Milwaukee, and I will tell you, she has an incredible amount of energy. She's an amazing person that represents the brand to its fullest, really is there to figure out, how much support do you have to be in an immersive program, right? That's 1,000 hours in 4 months. And how does this, how can we help you with our wraparound services that we also provide, right? Because we want you to be supported while you're in the program. And so I think that's the first step to be able to do that. And then, I think I'll leave by saying that IC Stars is looking for that intern that's also going to inspire, right? It's going to inspire us. It's going to be excited to be in the program, along with being in this technology, environment that we have here in Milwaukee. And so just really excited about the possibilities for everybody that walks through this, through the door and becomes part of this family. So it's lifelong, and we're excited about that and seeing everybody flourish really in the tech ecosystem here.
Thanks, Blanca. Rashid, next steps for folks who want to get into the returnship?
Yeah, so from a process standpoint, it's very similar. I put a link to our website and my contact information linked in as well. So a little bit of a differentiator or the difference from Apprenti and IC Stars for us is we're working with individuals that have had some sort of a tech exposure, right? So and we all here know someone that has, taken a break from their workforce or from employment. So for us, what's most important is the word of mouth. That's sort of how we attract a lot of our cohort members. Most times people don't even know where to start. I mean, we've had returners that, they're not searching for returnship. That's not the first word in their mind, but they're looking at resources. So for us, that word of mouth is important, but the application process is very generic upfront for obvious reasons, because we're taking people in our program that come from such a wide variety of background. IT is very, very broad. We're not taking folks and saying, here's the 2 slots that we have available for you, come join us in these tracks, but we're trying to work with these women, be flexible. And because it's returnship, people come to us from various point in their returning journey as well. So some of them are highly qualified, have had, you know, decades of experience, and then are just looking for maybe a month of sort of like augmenting those skill sets. So our process is a little bit different. It's very customized on how long you stay with us and which track we put you on. So the best place is, once again, just starting out with our website and applying. We respond 100% to all our incoming inquiries, whether we do have restrictions in terms of geographical representation. So there's states that we can't accept returners from, but we're happy to point you in other directions as well. So that's kind of how you can join returnship.
Awesome. And Sheila, how do folks get more information about the resources that Malamado offers? You're on mute.
Okay, I put something in the chat. You can contact us for a tour. It's our website's malamado.com. And we're able to do that. And also the model that I published is in my book. You can get it at the library, you can get it at Amazon as well. And that's just a great way. And I'd again just recommend just getting out there and attending events and talking to different people.
Excellent. Wonderful. And for everybody who is on the line, if you're catching this on the recording, please do take this survey. As was mentioned earlier, the Techer Coalition hosts lots of different kinds of events. And this is one event in the talent space that we're looking for your feedback on. And so just through the survey link in the chat, it's only a couple questions. I think it's maybe 6 questions total. So it's very, very fast. But we very much would appreciate your feedback. And we're just excited to build an inclusive tech ecosystem together. It's going to take all of us to make sure that the greater Milwaukee region and Wisconsin as a state can thrive moving forward, especially with all of the rapid technological advancements that are affecting everybody in every industry. And so whether you have no degree and you're looking at an apprenticeship route or an internship route, whether you have a degree and you're looking to return back into the workforce through returnship, or whether you're looking to innovate and start your own shop through entrepreneurship, it's going to take all of us aboard this talent ship. And I am so excited to be on the ship with you all. Thank you for participating in the All Aboard the Talent Ship webinar. And we look forward to getting your feedback via the forums, and we will sign off. The recording will be sent to you once we wrap. So thank you all so much again for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you around the ecosystem.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah.
Joining everyone, and thanks, Sarah and panelist team.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.